tell us about the challenge that you set yourself to turn £10,000 into £100,000.
Yeah, it was 3 years ago now I had set this challenge. And what I wanted to do was to give one of the most difficult things for newer traders and for a lot of traders who have been around for even a few years is belief. The belief that they can do it, that they can be successful and that they can actually turn a good return on their accounts, whatever it is. Because there's people like me who can show them and teach them all these techniques, but how many people like me actually put their neck on the line and say, look, there's a real life trading account there, and I'm now going to trade this over a period of the next 2 years, and you're going to be able to see how I get on. I'm going to show you all the trades over the next 2 years. Very few people do that. So I thought, I'm going to do this, put my neck on the line here, and see what I can achieve over a period, over a long enough period to say that statistically it's way beyond luck. See, if I'd have just said, oh look, I've done a load of trades this week or a load of trades this month, and look how much I've returned, that could have just been luck. I could just trade over a 1 month period, get lucky over that month, and then just put a video out there saying, look how well I did. But by doing something over a sustained long period where people were regularly getting to see my accounts and how I was getting on, they were seeing the ups and the downs, it helped them with their belief. So that's why I set that challenge out. And so I started off, it was because I was doing a webinar for some American traders. And I thought, okay, they wanted me to do something a bit snazzy as a presentation. So I thought, okay, I'll trade over like a month or two and see how I get on. And then I thought, that's not going to be good enough, like I've just said. So why don't I trade over a sustained period to prove beyond doubt it's way beyond any statistical probabilities and everything else? So that's what gave me the idea, and I thought $10,000 in, because that's how I set it up, is a typical starting account amount in the US for a trader. They put $10,000 roughly speaking as an average into an account. So I thought, okay, 10K into 100K, that's got a nice ring to it. So I didn't have a clue if I was going to be able to achieve the goal or not, but it was a nice strap line, and that's what I set out to do. In fact, I set it over a 2-year period. By the end of the 2 years, I hadn't actually achieved the goal, which I was actually quite pleased that I didn't, because it made it more real. But I'd still done 600% over the 2 years. But then I carried on after that 2 years to see if I could get it to the 1,000%, and then took me 2 years and 10 months in the end to get to the 1,000-odd%. So I did achieve it, but it took a little bit longer.
That's amazing. So if I gave you £10,000 and just said, Charlie, in 3 years, or did you
It was a lot of hard work.
I was going to say, did you really feel the pressure because it was a complete challenge that you did, as opposed to if you just were investing that money yourself behind closed doors?
Yeah. It was. I did that challenge specifically. It was what I call a speculative challenge. So I did take slightly bigger risks than I would do on my main accounts. So whereas on my main accounts I would normally be risking less than 0.5% per trade, I was allowing myself to risk 2% or so per trade on some trades if I wanted to. So I was taking a little bit more risk. But the other thing with that challenge is that because I'd set that challenge out, I was committed to achieving that challenge. When I'm trading normally, I can be relaxed. It doesn't matter if I take a week off or I'm water skiing or whatever it might be. It doesn't matter so much. But when you're in the middle of that challenge, every week is like, oh, that's another week that I could be trading and getting that account up. So it was quite a lot of work to do it, but I just wanted to do it to prove to people what can be achieved if you develop the skill sets as a trader. Then there's no reason why you can't do something like that.
That's not a bad return for your challenge.
I know, I bought the Porsche. No, exactly. And so I knew that would be a bonus for me at the end of the period. And I did make a promise to some of my traders during it, because I did a health challenge a couple of years ago to see, I was 41 then, and to see if I could get into the fittest or the best shape of my life. I'm generally fit and healthy anyway, but so my body fat went down to 3% body fat. But over that period, all I was eating was white cod, any white fish, chicken and broccoli, essentially. You know, that was the diet for a couple of months or so. So it worked, and got really good shape. But you can't sustain that. That's literally just for like having a photo shoot and stuff. So at the end of that challenge, I ended up having such a sweet tooth because I hadn't taken anything sweet on in months. And the joke was with my traders at the end of that challenge that because I had such a sweet tooth that I'd buy them all a piece of cake and would get this huge cake at the end of my 10K to 100K challenge, and we'd all demolish this cake together. And I've yet to fulfill that promise. So at some point I'm going to go to, there's a wonderful cake maker I know, get her to make a huge cake, and then we'll all get together and have
Did anybody
cake and tea.
piggyback on your trades throughout that challenge?
No, well, they would have done indirectly, yes, because during that challenge, I have a live trading room. And so when I'm in that live trading room, and if I'm taking trades, then my traders can follow my trades. So some of those trades, then yes, they would have been able to, but not all of them, because I'm only in that trading room for half the day. Yeah. The rest of the half, if I'm taking trades when I'm not in that room, then they wouldn't have followed those.
Yeah. Charlie, you've won trading competitions in the past, but how does that relate to trading in general?
Yeah, every year there's a trading competition in London where I compete against another trader. We have like a live trade-off. And actually next year, in 2017, I'm up against a computer. So it's going to be man versus machine next year. So I've got lucky in the last few years that I've won those competitions. But so we thought, okay, what's the next challenge for me to do? So I'm going up against an automated trading system. So we'll see how that goes. But when it comes to trading competitions, they generally only last a couple of hours. So you're only getting a small window with which to trade over. So I might take 1, 2, maybe 3 trades over that time. But how does that relate to the wider trading? Well, you could just get lucky in a trading competition, for example. But in the wider trading world, you measure yourself over a much greater number of trades. So you really want to be measuring yourself out over 100 trades or 500 trades to say, okay, are you consistent? I'm not talking about consistent as in being right every time, but do you have an edge? So are you right, let's say 50 or 60% of the time, plus your risk to reward is good and positive, so therefore you have a positive outcome in your trading. So that's the real measure of a trader, is not just 1 or 2 trades. The real measure of a trader is, can they consistently repeat that time and time again over a much larger number of trades.
Have you ever thought about getting into social trading and maybe setting up something similar to Ayondo?
Well, I almost already have social trading in that I have a live online trading room. So we have a number of traders that will be in that live trading room on a daily basis. And so for a few hours a day, I'm in that trading room. So that's social trading in that they can follow what I'm doing when I'm trading. But as regards to out and out social trading, no, not really, because the problem that you can have is sometimes when you're taking a trade, if let's say you've got 500 people, for argument's sake, following you on a trade, and I've got a stop loss, let's say at 20 pips below where I am at, my concern would be that if everyone else was following that same trade, then there's a lot of stop losses going into the market all at the same price. And the markets like to fulfill orders. And so if there's enough stops all at the same price and there's enough volume at that level, then the risk starts to increase that I'm actually going to get stopped out on a trade, which if I just take on my own, I'm not going to get stopped out because it's less likely to go that way. So for that reason, no, I don't want to have 500 people following me on every trade.
And that's what you were saying earlier about your superstition. If anything, it's that, isn't it? It's that some you keep to yourself.
Yeah. I don't mind having traders in my trading room taking trades because that's a bit different because there's not 500 of them. And so, but it's outside of my control if I went into the social trading environment. So until someone sits me down and says, Charlie, it would be fine, but I don't think so. So no, that's my superstitions again. But no, I'd rather just trade the way I trade.